Welcome back to the deep dive. It is great to have you here with us. Today, we are doing something a little different. Usually, we take a broad topic and sort of swim around in it, but today we are going to act very specifically as your instructors. We are taking a single document, a massive, influential, maybe slightly intimidating document, and we are going to dismantle it piece by piece.
We are going to deconstruct the blueprint, essentially.
That is the perfect way to put it. I mean, we are living in a moment where artificial intelligence has really transitioned. It used to be this novel toy or this, sci-fi promise.
Yeah.
Now, it's infrastructure, it's the plumbing, it's running financial models, it's triaging healthcare data, and, it's increasingly integrated into our power grids and defense systems.
It has become the substrate of the modern economy. And the scary part is we're still figuring out how to keep that substrate from cracking.
That is the question, keeping every CISO, every security engineer, and frankly, every government official up at night. How do we secure this stuff? How do we use it to protect ourselves? And maybe most terrifyingly, how do we stop it from being used against us?
These are the three fundamental questions of the mid-2020s. There's really no escaping them.
So to answer them, we are going right to the source. We are unpacking the NIST cybersecurity framework profile for artificial intelligence. Specifically, we are looking at the initial preliminary draft, or NIST IR 859-6 IPRIDE.
A critical document, really a foundational one.
And context is everything here. Today is February 11, 2026. This draft was released back in December 2025. The public comment period, that window where the industry gets to, yell at the government about what they got wrong, just closed on January 30th.
Right, so we're looking at a snapshot.
Exactly. We are looking at the text as it stood during that crucial review window.
And it is a snapshot of the industry's best thinking right now. And, it's so important to note the weight of the author here. This is the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. When they put out a framework, it doesn't just sit on a shelf. It tends to become the de facto law of the land, even if it starts as voluntary guidance.
It shapes markets. It really does.
I know.
Now, this document is dense. It is not light reading. So our mission today is very focused. We are not doing the whole 90 pages. We are focusing exclusively on Clause 1, the introduction.
Which sounds like we're skimping, but we are not. The introduction is where the philosophy lives. It's where they lay out the logic for how we're supposed to, survive the AI era.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it.
If you don't understand Clause 1, the rest of the tables and controls are just noise.
So consider us your guides. We are going to walk through this text section by section. Let's start at the very beginning, the preamble and the background. Before we even talk about AI, we have to talk about the framework ecosystem, because NIST didn't just invent this out of thin air, right?
No, and understanding the lineage here is vital. This document, the Cyber AI Profile, is basically the child of two very different parents.
Okay.
On one side, you have the NIST Cybersecurity Framework 2.0, the CSF.
The CSF, that's the classic, the one everyone knows.
It is the gold standard for cybersecurity. If you work in a security operations center or a SOC, this is your Bible. It's built around those core functions: govern, identify, protect, detect, respond, recover. It's very almost binary in its logic. Keep the bad guys out, keep the data in.
Okay, so that is parent number one, the hardened security veteran.
Right. Then you have parent number two, the AI Risk Management Framework, or the AI RMF. This was released to address responsible use of AI. It deals with things like bias, fairness, explainability.
All the sort of societal stuff.
Exactly, the socio-technical risks.
So if I'm getting this right, CSF is don't let the hackers breach the firewall, and the AI RMF is more like don't let the model discriminate against loan applicants.
Broadly, yes. That's a great way to think about it. One is about security, the other is about safety and responsibility. But here's the problem, and the reason we're talking about this today. There was a gap.
The gap.
A huge one.
Yeah.
The CSF wasn't specific enough to handle the weird, probabilistic nature of AI code. You can't just firewall a hallucination. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
And the AI RMF, while great for ethics and safety, wasn't tactical enough to tell a security engineer how to stop, say, a model inversion attack.
So the cyber AI profile exists to bridge that gap, to sit in the middle.
Precisely. It applies the rigor of the CSF specifically to the prioritized cybersecurity outcomes needed for AI. It takes the responsible AI concepts and translates them into hard security requirements.
The text calls it a community profile. What does that mean in NIST speak?
That's just their terminology. A community profile is when they take the core CSF, which is generic, applies to anyone, and they customize it for a specific sector or technology.
Like healthcare or finance.
Exactly. In this case, that context is artificial intelligence.
So it's almost like a translation layer. It translates data science into cybersecurity and vice versa.
That is one of its explicit goals, and it's so needed. Historically, data scientists and security engineers do not speak the same language, not even close.
Yeah, I can imagine.
A data scientist cares about accuracy, F1 scores, and loss functions. A security engineer cares about vulnerabilities, patch management, and access control. This document forces them to sit at the same table.
Now, in the intro, they mention something else that I think is really important to distinguish because the acronyms can get confusing. They talk about COSAIS.
Yes, COSAIS, the control overlays for securing AI systems.
That is a mouthful. What is the difference between the profile, which we're reading, and COSAIS?
Think of it as the difference between strategy and tactics. The profile is strategic. It tells you what outcome to achieve. For example, ensure the model is resistant to adversarial attacks.
Okay, the high-level goal.
Exactly. COSAIS is the nitty-gritty. It provides implementation-focused guidelines using NIST SP 853 controls.
853. For those not in the federal space, those are the specific line-by-line security controls for federal information systems. It's a beast.
It is the checklist of checklists. So while the profile sets the goal, COSAIS gives you the specific technical settings to achieve it. And the text mentions they're developing these overlays for specific high-risk use cases. Generative AI, predictive AI, and this is the one to watch, agentic AI.
Agentic AI. We're going to come back to that term multiple times today, I have a feeling.
We have to. It's a recurring theme in this draft. Single agent and multi-agent systems.
So the takeaway from the background section is that NIST is attacking this from two angles. High-level strategy with the profile.
And low-level tactical controls with COSAIS.
Got it. They're trying to cover the entire stack.
Correct.
Let's look at the history briefly. The text gives us a timeline. Why does that matter? Why should we care when they started this?
It matters because it shows the urgency. I mean, government usually moves at a glacial pace. This timeline is sprinting.
Okay, so it says the concept paper was published in February 2025.
In a public workshop in April 2025, then 3 intense working sessions in August and September, and boom, the draft in December.
That's less than a year from concept to draft.
That tells you that NIST is under immense pressure from, well, everywhere to get this right and to get it out fast.
It also tells me this wasn't just written in a vacuum by a few people in a dark room.
No, not at all. The working sessions involved industry, academia, and government. This document represents a consensus, or at least the collective anxiety of the entire field.
Collective anxiety is a great phrase for it. Okay, let's move to section 1.1, purpose. The why. Why do we need this profile right now?
Because the landscape is chaotic. That's the short answer. The text explicitly states that organizations are all over the map regarding their AI adoption.
I like how they frame that. It's true. You have some companies that are still using abacuses and others using, practically sentient code.
Right. You have organizations that aren't using AI at all, and that's fine. You have some using basic machine learning spam filters, symbol pattern matching. And then you have the cowboys organizations deploying transformational generative AI, large language models, and automated coding assistants.
And the problem is that the old security rules just don't scale across that spectrum, do they?
Not at all. And the text states it perfectly. Cybersecurity programs need risk management approaches that support and integrate the realities of advancements in AI.
Integrate the realities. That is a very polite, very NIST way of saying deal with the fact that this stuff is dangerous.
It is, and it leads directly into the core duality of the document, what they call the double-edged sword.
I want to spend a moment on this because it's so important. The text is very clear that AI is both a risk and an opportunity. Let's look at the risks first.
Okay, so the text highlights a few specific ones. First, AI makes mistakes. It offers confident yet incorrect answers.
Hallucinations, the thing we all know about.
Right, but view that through a security lens. We usually think of hallucinations as a user experience problem. Oh, the chatbot gave you the wrong recipe.
Yeah.
But what if the AI is an automated IT admin? What if it confidently decides to delete a production database because it hallucinates a corruption error? That's a massive integrity breach.
Okay, that's terrifying. It also mentions leaking sensitive data.
Confidentiality. I mean, we've all seen the headlines of engineers pasting proprietary company code into public chatbots to debug it.
And manipulation, that's a big one.
A huge one. Adversarial evasion, prompt injection. basically tricking the model into doing something it shouldn't. The text is acknowledging that AI introduces a whole new, very weird attack surface.
But then, the flip side, the opportunity.
The firefighter's side of the sword. The text explicitly mentions that AI can improve cybersecurity defenses. We could use AI to sift through alerts, to detect anomalies, to find that needle in the haystack of data way faster than any human ever could.
So the purpose of this profile is to manage the arsonist while equipping the firefighter.
That is the balancing act. And to do that, the document lists 3 specific goals. Goal 1, shared understanding.
Which goes back to the language barrier we were talking about.
Exactly. Getting everyone to agree on what risk even means in an AI context.
Oh.
Goal 2, fostering collaboration, connecting the AI builders with the AI defenders.
And goal 3.
Target outcomes, providing outcomes based on the CSF core for strategic planning. This is the practical side. It answers the question, what does good look like? If I'm a CEO, how do I know my AI is secure? This document gives me the checklist.
Okay, so now we get to the part that I found most surprising, honestly. Section 1.2, scope. To regulate something or to secure it, you usually have to define it. So how does NIST define artificial intelligence in this document?
They don't.
I had to reread that paragraph, a 90-page document on AI security, and they refuse to define AI.
Explicitly, the text says it does not assert a definition.
Why? I mean, is that laziness? Or is it strategy?
It is a survival strategy.
100%.
The text says they want to keep the profile useful and flexible long into the future. Think about how fast this technology moves. If they defined AI today based on the architecture of large language models,
And next year we invent, I don't know, quantum neural networks or something.
the definition becomes obsolete and the entire standard becomes useless. By refusing to define it strictly, they leave it open to the broadest sense of the term.
They are essentially saying, if you think it's AI, it's AI. Apply the framework.
That's exactly it.
That is actually quite smart. It future-proofs the document.
It does. But they do give examples. They have to give us something to hold on to.
Right. They list systems and algorithms.
Under systems, they list the usual suspects. LLMs, generative AI for text, code, video, prediction systems, search engines. But look closely at that list. They include automated and agentic systems.
There is that word again? Agentic.
It appears repeatedly in the scope section. This suggests NIST is very, very concerned with AI that doesn't just chat, but acts. AI that has agency to execute commands on a system.
And under algorithms, what did they list there?
Statistical machine learning, deep learning, neural networks,
Hmm.
the usual stuff. But also logic and symbolic reasoning.
Old school AI. Good old-fashioned AI.
Right. And hybrid techniques, neurosymbolic AI. And this is crucial reinforcement learning, specifically RLHF.
Reinforcement learning with human feedback. Why is RLHF singled out there?
Because that is how modern models are trained to be safe. That's the alignment technique. By listing it in the scope, NIST is implying that the training process itself is a security domain.
Wow.
You have to secure the feedback loop. If an attacker can poison the human feedback, they can compromise the core alignment of the model.
That is a massive expansion of scope. It's not just secure the software, it is secure the classroom where the software learns.
Exactly, you nailed it.
Now, within this scope section, we arrive at what I consider the absolute core of the entire document. If you are listening and you want to understand how NIST organizes the world of AI security, this is it, the focus areas.
This is the structural innovation of the profile. It's brilliant, really. They organize everything around 3 keywords: secure, defend, and thwart.
Let's break these down one by one because everything else in the document hangs on this scaffolding. Number 1, secure. Securing AI system components.
This is what you might traditionally call AI security or AppSec for AI.
Yeah.
It is managing the risks when you bring AI into your environment.
So securing the model weights, securing the training data, that kind of thing.
Right. But the text adds a very important nuance here. It explains why this is so hard. It uses a specific string of adjectives. It says AI behavior is contextual, dynamic, opaque, and harder to predict.
Opaque. That is the black box problem, right?
That is the fundamental problem. If you secure a traditional database, you know how it works, you can audit the SQL queries.
Right.
With a deep neural network, you have billions of parameters. You don't know why it gave the answer it
You
gave.
can't just patch a neuron.
You can't. So secure is about wrapping that black box in layers of defense, because the box itself is inherently untrustworthy.
So it's about securing the pipeline, the supply chain, and the infrastructure, because the model itself is a mystery.
Precisely.
Okay, that's secure. Number 2, defend. Conducting AI-enabled cyber defense.
This is the pivot. This isn't about protecting the AI. This is about using the AI to protect us.
The firefighter again?
Yes. The text lists examples like sifting through alerts. If you talk to any SOC analyst, they will tell you they are drowning. They get thousands of security alerts a day. 99% are noise.
Alert fatigue. It's a huge problem.
AI doesn't get tired. AI can process massive data sets to find anomalies. It can conduct mission assurance and predictive maintenance.
And again, the text mentions agentic AI in this section. Defensive agents.
Swarms of defensive bots. I mean, imagine a future where you have autonomous AI agents patrolling your network, identifying vulnerabilities, and patching them in real time without a human ever logging in.
That sounds great, but also a little like Skynet. I have to say it.
It's the logical conclusion of the technology, but it leads us directly to the third focus area, because if we have agents, so do they.
Number 3, thwart. Thwarting AI-enabled cyber attacks.
This is the adversary perspective. This is protecting against bad guys who are using AI to come after you.
So AI versus AI.
Often, yes. The threat here, as described in the text, is all about speed and scale. The text says AI makes attacks faster, easier to deploy, and more dynamic.
It lowers the barrier to entry.
Drastically.
Yeah.
10 years ago, if you wanted to launch a sophisticated spear phishing campaign, you needed a team of social engineers, a lot of research.
Time and money.
Yeah. Today, you need one person and an uncensored LLM.
The text mentions AI-enabled spear phishing.
Deepfakes, voice cloning. Imagine getting a call from your CEO telling you to wire money, and it sounds exactly like her. That is a thwart problem.
And polymorphic malware. What's that?
Malware that literally rewrites its own code to hide from antivirus software. If the malware is using AI to change its signature every 5 seconds, your traditional detect tools are completely useless.
And keeping with the theme, AI agents acting as autonomous hackers.
The text calls this agentic AI under the thwart section too. So you have agentic AI defending and agentic AI attacking.
That is quite an image. A battlefield.
It is the reality we're heading towards. And that brings us to figure 1 in the text. These aren't separate silos. They're not independent.
Right, the diagram. It is a Venn diagram, effectively showing the overlap.
It shows the interrelationship. Secure enables defend. You cannot use AI to defend your network if the AI itself has been hacked. If I poison your defensive model, you are defenseless.
And thwart feeds back into secure.
Exactly. Understanding how the bad guys use AI, the thwart part, gives you the insights you need to build better resilience, the secure part. It's a continuous cycle of managing AI-related cybersecurity opportunities and risks.
It creates an ecosystem of risk. You can't just pick one and ignore the others.
You really can't. If you ignore thwart, you get blindsided. If you ignore secure, your own tools turn against you. If you ignore defend, you are bringing a knife to a gunfight.
That is a sobering thought. Let's move to section 1.3, audience. Who is this actually for? Because sometimes these NIST docs feel like they are written for, people with PhDs in cryptography.
It's surprisingly broad. The text breaks the audience down into 4 specific buckets. First, users of AI.
Does that mean me using a chatbot to write an email or something bigger?
It means organizations using AI. Whether it's a standalone chatbot, a marketing tool, or AI embedded in a critical power grid, if you use it, you are on the hook.
Okay, second bucket.
Defenders. Organizations wanting to capitalize on AI for security tools. So if you're buying a firewall that says, now with AI, this section is for you, you need to know how to deploy that safely.
Third.
Targets.
Which is basically everyone with a pulse.
Pretty much. Organizations needing to defend against AI-enabled attacks. If you have an internet connection, you are a target.
And finally, number 4.
Developers, the people actually building the systems.
Now, there is a key insight in this section that I circled immediately. The text says this applies regardless of whether they build or purchase AI technologies.
That is the most critical line in the audience section. It completely destroys the not my problem defense.
Explain that. What do you mean?
Well, many companies think, oh, we didn't code the LLM, we just rent it from big tech company X via an API, so the security is their problem. This profile says, no, it's not that simple.
It is a shared responsibility.
Exactly. If you purchase the tech, you are still a user and a target. You have a role to play in the security profile. You need to communicate expectations to your stakeholders, both internal and external.
So if you are a CISO, you use this document to hold your vendors accountable.
Yes. That's a huge part of its utility. It helps leadership generate priorities. It creates a common vocabulary. You can go to your vendor and say, show me how you are addressing the secure focus area of NIST IR 8596. And if they can't answer, That's a massive red flag.
Finally, we have section 1.4, document structure, the roadmap. We are only doing the intro today, but what is waiting for us in the rest of the document?
The meat. Section 2 is the tables. It links the CSF functions, govern, identify, protect, detect, respond, recover, to the three focus areas we just discussed: secure, defend, and thwart.
So it's a giant matrix, basically.
It is a massive matrix. It asks the hard questions. Okay, for the protect function, what does that look like for secure? What does it look like for defend? What does it look like for thwart?
That sounds intense. And probably very useful.
It is where the actual work happens. And then, you have the appendices.
Does it NIST fair, glossaries and whatnot?
Mostly. Appendix A is acronyms. You will definitely need that for things like AI bomb.
AI bomb? What's that?
AI bill of materials. It's like an ingredient list for your software model. Shows where all the pieces came from. It's a very hot topic right now in supply chain security.
Interesting.
Appendix C is the CSF 2.0 overview, and Appendix D is a guide on how to use the profile. But really, Section 2 is the engine room of the whole thing.
Okay. We have walked through the preamble, the purpose, the scope, the audience. Let's take a breath. That is Clause 1.
That is the foundation. Everything else is built on that logic.
When you step back and look at this introduction as a whole, what is the narrative NIST is trying to tell here? What is the story?
The narrative is that AI is not special anymore.
What do you mean by that? It feels pretty special.
For a long time, AI was treated as this exotic thing. It was innovation. It was magic.
Yeah.
This document treats it as enterprise software. Dangerous, powerful, complex software, yes. But software that must be governed, identified, protected, detected, responded to, and recovered from.
It is normalizing the risk. Taking it out of the sci-fi realm and putting it into the IT department?
It is operationalizing the risk. It is moving from, oh no, the robots are coming, to, okay, the robots are here, let's check their access logs.
Let's check their access logs. I like that. It makes it real.
And the other narrative is the interconnectivity. That's secure, defend, thwart, triad. You cannot just be a passive consumer of AI anymore. You are a participant in a hostile ecosystem, whether you like it or not.
That brings us back to the thwart concept. The text focuses heavily on the speed of attacks.
Speed and automation, yeah.
AI makes attacks faster, easier to deploy.
It lowers the barrier to entry. I said it before, but it's worth repeating. You don't need to be a nation-state hacker to write polymorphic malware anymore. You just need the right prompt and a powerful model.
So if the attacks are getting faster and the barrier to entry is lower,
then our defense must get faster, which implies we must use AI to defend. Humans are just too slow. We can't keep up.
And that leads to the thought I wanted to explore in our final minutes here, the provocative final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Go on.
The text mentions agentic AI under both defend, the swarms of agents protecting us, and thwart the autonomous agents attacking us.
It does. It puts them on both sides of the chessboard.
It paints a picture of a future where cybersecurity is essentially AI agents fighting other AI agents in a dark server room, moving at millisecond speeds.
Well, we just stand outside and hold the policy manual.
Exactly. Are we just the referees in a game we can't even see?
The text absolutely implies that question. It brings up the whole debate of human in the loop versus human on the loop.
Mm-hmm.
If the attack happens at machine speed, a human cannot be in the loop. We would be a bottleneck. So we have to delegate authority to the defensive AI.
We have to give it the keys to the castle.
We have to get agency. But if we get an agency, and remember the secure section, where we admitted the AI is opaque and unpredictable, we are taking a massive, massive risk.
What if the defensive AI hallucinates and thinks a friendly system is an attacker?
What if it overreacts? What if the attacker tricks our defender into shutting down the whole power grid to save it from a non-existent threat?
That is the contextual, dynamic, opaque risk coming back to bite us in the worst possible way.
Exactly. It's a terrifying loop. We need AI to fight AI, but the AI we use introduces new vulnerabilities that the attacking AI can exploit.
My head hurts just thinking about it.
That is why we have the framework, to structure that headache.
Structuring the headache. That might be the alternate title for this deep dive.
It's an accurate description, I think.
So, to recap the journey today, we have established that the Cyber AI profile is NIST's attempt to apply the gold standard of cybersecurity, the CSF, to the Wild West of AI.
All right. Trying to put some guardrails up.
We have the three pillars: secure the systems, defend with the systems, and thwart the attacks.
And the interplay between them. You can't have one without the others.
And we have the flexibility. It defines AI broadly to survive the test of time.
To ensure that when the next big breakthrough happens in 2027 or 2028, this document isn't immediately trashed.
It is a living document for living technology.
And remember, for everyone listening, this was the initial preliminary draft from December 2025. We will likely see changes before the final version is published.
But the core logic, that secure, defend, thwart model, I have a feeling that isn't going anywhere.
No, that is the new reality. That's the paradigm.
So what does this mean for you, the listener? Whether you are a CISO, a developer, or just someone curious about the future, it means you are part of this ecosystem.
You are a node in the network, and you need to decide if you are securing, defending, or just waiting to be thwarted.
Ideally, not the last one.
Ideally.
We encourage you to check out the full document. Look for the specific tables in Section 2 if you want the technical details.
It is the manual for the future. You really should read it.
It is. Thank you for acting as our guide today through this. It was incredibly helpful.
My pleasure. It's an important topic.
And thank you to everyone listening. Keep learning, keep curious, and maybe go check your firewall settings.
And don't trust every chatbot you meet.
Good advice. We will see you on the next deep dive.